in the time when wargamers played with chainmail, and the rise of the wizards of the coast, there was an age of gamers. And unto this, Gygax, destined to bear the crown jewel of TSR upon a troubled brow, to show you all how to roll for initiative.
The Roll for Initiative podcast, issue number 76. I am DM Vince, sitting alongside DM Matt.
Hello, everyone.
Good. And DM Nick.
Hey, everybody.
And our favorite DM Will.
What's up?
The man with the increasing fan base by day.
Yeah, I'm Bismarcky too.
That's apparently, yeah, we have to read that comment about Bismarcky. So everybody knows. Apparently on Facebook, we have our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/RFI podcast. One of our listeners has compared Will to Bismarcky, I guess because of his voice.
Nice.
You got to sing us. You got to sing us a song, Will.
Well, I don't think that's singing. I think it's more rapping than it is singing.
Yeah, they say he's just a friend. Oh,
I don't know. I don't know nothing about that kind of stuff.
When you said Bismarcky, I was thinking the German leader. I'm sorry. I was going World War I, pointy helmet.
He sounds like Kaiser von Bismarck. Yes.
Jawohl, mein Führer. They rolled the dice and they killed him, but they did one day. No, he's not a German soldier. I was assuming they meant Bismarcky the rapper.
That's what they was talking about.
Anyway, we want you to go onto Facebook and like us if you haven't, because we're getting closer to 1,000 as we speak. Yes. As we speak, 964.
Nice.
As of this podcast. So we want to get to 1,000. So rally up your friends. Push their like on their computer when they walk away to go to the bathroom. I don't care if it's the dog, the cat. Get us to 1,000.
Yes, because if you get us to 1,000 likes, the old ones shall be released, and it will release havoc among... Oh, maybe not.
You're not supposed to say that.
I'm sorry.
That's a surprise.
Oh, okay. Nothing.
Yeah, now you ruined our secret, Nick.
Yeah. No, everybody gets brownies. That's it.
So what's everyone been up to? Nick, what have you been... No, let's start with Matt, because Matt wasn't around last time. Matt, what have you been
Matt, what have you been doing?
Not a lot of gaming, unfortunately. I got... Well, I missed last show because I was working a pro wrestling show, a rare Sunday afternoon one. If you're in the Cincinnati area, NWFWrestling.com is the website for the Northern Wrestling Federation, the promotion that I do video camera work and production for. So if you want to watch some professional wrestling in the Cincinnati area, NWFWrestling.com. We've had a few people of note come start with our promotion. So, but.
Like who?
The Monster Abyss in TNA started with us.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Carl Anderson, who's in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Jillian Hall started with us. And Wildcat Chris Harris, that was in TNA, started with us.
Oh, God. Did Jillian Hall sing while she was there, too?
No. I do know her ex-husband, though. And I also known her from before she had all the work done. I met her a long time ago. I'll just say that.
Well, she was still good looking then. I mean,
when she very first started, but when she had like curly brownish hair, and
that's way before I knew her. Then, okay.
Yeah, I knew her before she started. I first saw her before she even stepped foot in a wrestling school. That's how far back.
No King Kong Bundy.
No King Kong Bundy, but the guy that runs the NWF, Roger Ruffin, refereed for the WWF for like 20-some years, so I'm sure he's refereed many a King Kong Bundy match.
Awesome.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, he was the referee for like the Bret Hart Roddy Piper match at WrestleMania 8.
Look at there.
Yeah, or if you remember when Jake the Snake Roberts had the Cobra bite Randy Savage, he was the referee that grabbed Randy Savage's foot, letting Jake Roberts jump him so he could be bitten by the snake. So it's kind of his fault. Randy got bit by the Cobra.
I do have to say, I'm looking at the pictures of the roster on this website, and some of the people look hilarious. I'm sorry.
That's indie wrestling in general.
The Kirk Shepard guy, if you look him up, it looks like he's a gamer or something. Just plopped into the ring.
Yeah, he's one of the managers.
Oh, okay, that explains it then.
Yeah, he's a manager.
Cool. All right. NWF. That reminds me of a wrestling sim. I was in Nightmare Wrestling Federation.
Oh, just don't confuse it with the other NWF wrestling that was some like weird kids promotion in like Minneapolis back in the like late 80s or something.
Yeah, I remember that. Anyway, cool. Maybe you can keep us updated on your progress with that.
Oh, absolutely,
brother. There. Oh, I never know. With the way Hogan owes money now, he might be running through there someday.
Tomatoes running wild.
You never know.
Better center.
How does he do that Slim Jim thing?
That's
that's Randy Macho Man Savage, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was. Ooh yeah, snip into a Slim Jim.
The taste.
Oh, now I'm dead. Heart attack.
Oh, damn.
That's messed up.
That's messed up, Nick.
Yeah, I'm sick.
3 Electrum for you now. No more Electrum for you.
No more Electrum.
You get copper now. You've been demoted.
Very well. Sad.
That's too funny. That's hilarious.
Anyway, so Will, what have you been doing?
Well, I've been doing some gaming and everything. Got to slow down a little bit because the gaming convention Comic-Con cycle starts this month, so I'm going to Game Storm in Vancouver, Washington, which is an exceptional gaming convention. So if you're all in this area, I would advise anyone to go to it because I tell you, it's just an awesome convention. Very well organized, plenty of free food, and I'm telling you, just tons and tons of gaming, whether it be role-playing games or board games or miniature games, what have you. And then we got, of course, the great and illustrious Emerald City Comic-Con, which is going to be in Seattle. And I think last year they got like 32,000 people there. And, you know, you get all the great super guests there and everything. So, I mean, I think I put down there on the post this morning, my main goal is to see George Takei. I want to make sure I get a picture with him. And Vince, for you, I'm going to try and get an autographed picture for you from Will Wheaton. So I know you really like the guy. So.
Yeah, did you see that? Apparently Will Wheaton hates me.
What?
I don't know what I did to Will Wheaton, but he hates me. He blocked me on Twitter.
Wow.
But I can't follow him. It said, I went to go follow because I noticed he wasn't on my Twitter anymore, and it said, there's a problem. You've been blocked. I'm like, Will Wheaton hates me?
Wheaton!
Were you trolling Will Wheaton on Twitter?
I don't know. Maybe because I said he was an S actor, but, you know.
Well, I mean, poor Wesley Crusher. I can't help him out with that. But so I was hoping to try and get an autograph with him or an autograph picture, and I can send it to you. I'm going to say, to my best friend, Vince. So
I missed him. He was at Gen Con last
friend
year.
you on Twitter.
Matt, was it Gen Con last year?
Yeah, he was at Gen Con last year with Felicia Day and some of the other guild members.
He did that celebrity dungeon, didn't he, with Frank Metzer and them?
I think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if that was impressive or not. I think it's something I could have put a pass on, no doubt in my mind. But so, you know, with that said, so that's my 2 in March. And then April, I got 2. Then in May, I got 1. Then in June, I got another 1. It's just so many this year to go to, and I'm just can't wait to get it started.
Cool.
Cool. Nick?
Yeah. Actually, for as far as gaming situation, had 2 games in the past. Well, let's see, had one this weekend and 2 weeks ago. So we actually had them almost back to back. So pretty interesting time. I've really messed with the group. Like we're doing kind of a Castle Greyhawk thing, right? I think I mentioned that before. And I kind of put a little twist on things because, you know, it's a Castle of a Mad Archmage. In fact, that's the adventure I'm using, the Castle of the Mad Archmage. And I thought I'd put a little twist on things, and they find in one of the areas, and this is in the module, but I kind of put a little bit of my own personal twist on it. There was an 8-foot tall statue of an ape that was wearing a fez and had a little cup in his hand. and one of the characters in the party dropped a little gold piece in there, and it started making like monkey noises, and this mist started to roll in. They go through the mist, and next thing they know, they're on the Isle of Dread.
Oh, nice.
So yes, they are now on the Isle of Dread, and they have to find their way back to the dungeon. They heard rumors from the tribes that they were with. When they were on the wrong end, if anybody's familiar with Isle of Dread, they're on the wrong side of the wall. So
Good.
they had the 2-3 day trek to the wall. They took down a mastodon, and so they helped the tribe take down a mastodon. Had a big old feast. They said they had helped them to take them to the Forbidden City of the Gods, which is up on the plateau, and that might be their way out of here, if you will. So yeah, I've actually mixed it up a little. I put in the Forbidden City is the adventure dwellers of the Forbidden City. So they're going through that right now, and there's one other. So it's like a mini campaign within the campaign, if you will. So I've always wanted to do like a Lost World, Lost Continent kind of thing. So, and they're really digging it. They're really enjoying it. They already took down like a Triceratops, and geez, what else? They got they got hammered by some rock baboons.
Great.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're having a real good time with it. So yeah, that's what's been going on past couple of weeks. So
Cool. Me, I've been doing my actual play podcast. You can keep up with that at epicwords.com/Finn to go there, and we're on the 4th podcast. Well, by the time it comes out, the 4th one will be out. So far, we had one player. Looks like they may have dropped out, and
one character death.
Shh, we're not supposed to say that, Nick.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, Nick just blew the bubble there. So, or burst the bubble, I should say. Yeah, we had one character death so far because of one player wandering off on their own.
I won't say anything else.
They were just playing their character. And, yeah.
Almost had something like that actually in last night's game. Had someone, he's playing a Cavalier, and he was playing his character like he wouldn't, Cavaliers, they won't back down from a fight. Mm-hmm. He's being attacked by, what is it, Leomund's faithful hound?
Yeah.
Can't kill it. It's in the description. You can't kill it. The only way you can do is dispel it. And he's trying to fight this thing. I'm like, no, bad idea. Run away.
Yeah, so there is a spot open. I should say that now, rfistaff@gmail.com. If you're interested, I just need someone that's dedicated to play every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a decent microphone setup. I don't like to have one of those people that are like, what? What did he do, Nick?
Hey.
Just get Charlie Brown on there, but it's that Charlie Brown teacher talk.
Or when they're talking,
oh yeah, jeez.
I'm.
That's what
I'm like you're at the drive-through with a broken mic.
Or they sound like they should be the leader of a banana republic.
Yeah. Well, they work for the subway, right?
Yeah.
You can go to iTunes and type in WGP Presents for Wild Games Productions Presents OSR Gaming, and then you'll find that podcast there. Along with, I heard that DM Brian from Thacko's Hammer is going to be releasing his actual play podcast for 2E. Oh. So we should be hearing that real shortly because he's editing that. He was just asking me the other day how to upload it. So you should be seeing it on that feed as well. So you'll have 2 actual play podcasts from our group coming out now.
Cool.
It's cool. Looking over at Facebook real quick, I just want to make an announcement that GnomeCon is coming up in Savannah, Georgia, April 20th to 22nd. They're offering RFI fans a pre-registration deal, 3-day membership, T-shirt, set of 6-sided dice for $35 while supplies last.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
for 3 days.
Cool. Yeah.
You can't beat that.
No. Let's see here. He said that reservations 912-748-6464. I'll just put this in the chat window for you, Matt. You can throw it up on the notes.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of stuff he put here, but $49.99 per room. It's their set rate for the con.
Wow.
So that's pretty good.
Nice.
I guess if you're in that area or you like traveling to cons, Will, you might want to do that.
Will.
Yeah,
Where's it says? Savannah, Georgia?
yeah, Savannah, Georgia.
Oh yeah, that's over there by South Carolina. Wow, that's way over there and everything. Yeah, no, I mean that's not bad at all. I mean $49.95 for a room. That's awesome when the average room here costs $120 for cons.
Hey,
So-
fridge in every room. I like it.
Yeah, I should head on over there. I got to head over to the East Coast as soon as possible. Hit some more of those cons like Dragon Con and some of those other ones like
Now
Corn on
there's
the
a-
Cob.
Con on the cob. Con on the cob.
I was making fun of DM Vince.
Yeah,
That's at my neck of the woods.
Right? Yeah, I know. I'm just giving Vince a hard time.
I don't like you right now. And a couple people were asking on Facebook if we're going to release any more DM screens. I don't have any. I have a couple left that were misprinted. I'm not giving those out because they look kind of sloppy. But no, there is no chance there'll be any more of those being given out. Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, so let's. If anyone has anything else to say, announcements or anything, no.
Well, actually, yeah, our iTunes reviews. We have one. Yes.
That's right. Nick Stars.
Yes, we got stars reviews. So everybody, again, iTunes, just head on over there. You can download any of our podcasts for free for Roll for Initiative. And you can also go to rfistaff@gmail.com, notify us there, or head on over to the Facebook, like we said, and friend us there. We have one review this week from Ranger in the Sky. And he gives us a 5-star review. Another first edition revert. He goes, I have been enjoying these podcasts during my Army deployments. I have listened to every podcast already. Easily 5 stars. I have played every version of D&D. I played AD&D first in the 80s as a teen. I'm going back to it now. I also like some of the things the designers at WotC are saying about D&D Next. I'm hoping more old school gamers could have a voice when the play tests start. If the new version is anything like the version that shall not be named, I'll play First Ed instead. Good job, guys. And clerics equal blunt weapons. Wah, wah. I'm like, no. I got snicker snacked. But, he has a good point. Thank you very much, Ranger in the Sky. Go airborne. And
That's right. Without Jason on the podcast, that leaves it now 1-to-1 with the whole weapons versus cleric thing.
Yeah. Anywho, what he was saying about like D&D Next, I'm hoping that they take a lot of input from us old, us old fat beards that have been around for a while, and.
I know some people can't comment on it, but Matt. But,
look at the pretty doggy. Yes, oh, yes, such a good boy.
from what I've heard on our forums, osrgaming.org/forums, pimp, cheap pop, right? I don't really like what I'm seeing so far. It's basically going to be a watered down 4E crap. So I don't
really.
I don't.
Well, I think where I started losing faith in this whole thing was when they started asking questions on the site, on the Wizard Coast website, saying like, what should a fighter's hit points be at first level, max hit points with a Constitution of 14? Well, sounds like 12 to me.
Yeah.
But they got things like 24, 36. And I think like
36.
What are we fighting? What kind of goblins are we fighting? What kind of kobolds are we fighting at first level to to have 36 hit points?
Oh my
so I'm
God.
thinking like, why are you asking
The
people?
power
like this?
creep has already started, apparently.
Oh yeah, I think it has too, and I think something else came out like, would y'all like to see different types of dice, like a D16 or a D3? No, keep the staple 6 dice that we always had. I just don't get it. I'm lost on the whole thing, so I'm waiting till we'll see what happens this month when all this stuff comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, D&D Next Week is becoming D&D. Forget about it.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well, that means that clerics equals sharp weapons, pierce weapons, bludgeoning weapons, and any other weapon that's not blunt. Whatever.
Keep it original, keep it old school, keep it blunt.
Fine.
That's gonna be
Fine.
the tagline now. Just to annoy Nick every show.
I'm taking my dice and I'm going home.
Well, I also read on Facebook that we could start a drinking game with you.
Me?
With Will.
Oh, with Will. Oh, that's right. With Will. That's right.
I don't understand what they was talking about for that drinking game.
They were saying every time you say "if you will," I think it was, or
No, whatever the case may be. Whatever it says, whatever the case may be, you take a shot.
Take a shot. So we have the Crispy drinking game from Save or Die, which is every time he says "like," which is every other word. You be drunk every time you get in the first segment, and you got Will.
Oh man, I gotta watch out now. Now I got a drinking game named after me. Great.
Hey, you're famous now. You're an internet celebrity now.
Yes.
You're a minor celebrity on the internet. You're hated and loved.
Oh yeah, boy, I tell you, I got my hate out there.
The problems of being a celebrity, I tell you.
Well, it wouldn't have happened without you all three, so I don't want to hear nothing about it. It's all y'all's fault.
You're right.
It's my fault because I invited you on the show. Oh my God, I'm a loser. Ooh la dee.
Jeez.
Anyway, before we head into Sage Advice, let's just say I hate you, Will Wheaton. Let's go into Sage Advice.
Master, they're at the gates again. Master, it looks like another band of adventurers.
Adventurers again? Always the same. Coming to me for sage advice.
Sage Advice. We have a couple things in Sage Advice today. We have a couple emails and we have a voicemail. If you'd like to send in your voicemail, 570-865-4210, the hotline. Right, Nick?
Yes.
the way there.
I wasn't going to do it this week.
Uh-huh.
It's the whole blunt weapon thing.
Where we have a rattlesnake standing by. Whoops.
Hey.
Anyway, so we have one voicemail. I'll play that first because I always like to encourage voicemails. So here we go.
Hi, this is Rachel from Tennessee, and I just want to say how much I love the show. And I have to say, I've been listening for a long time, and it's such a relief not to have to hear Jason anymore. I really enjoy Will. He's so informative, and he gives a lot of great information. I have to admit, Vince is my favorite, but Nick, Matt, you guys do a really great job, and not to trash him, but it's so much better without Jason. He was such a slave. I hope you guys are on the air forever. Thanks so much. Bye.
Okay. Any comments?
The views now depicted on Roll for Initiative podcast do not necessarily predict the views of the staff. Thank you.
Like we said, we play everything, we read everything, so we don't censor things unless there's a curse word. So
Right. Well, you know, Jason was Jason, and he did the way he did things, and you know, and so no.
Well, it's a woman. We can understand why, but you can look it up and figure that out. People out there, why? So we'll leave it.
Well, I'll say it like this though. Hey, Rachel from Tennessee. How they talk down there? No, it's awesome though. That was kind of and everything. Yeah. So thank you for your kind comments.
See, ever since that bad review, people have been calling in and flooding in with all emails with all the Will love.
Oh, it's a.
But there was also some Will hatred on the show earlier, but not necessarily directed at DM Will.
Ah, yeah. I just got that. Yeah, I'm just stupid idiot.
Nah, but again, thank you, Rachel. That's awesome. From deep down south Tennessee. Elvis country.
Yeah, definitely. You notice how all the trolls, the people that don't like you, don't bother writing in or calling in.
That's the strangest thing ever. But you just opened Pandora's box now, my friend, because they're going to do it now.
Because now they're okay. Every week. I can't stand Will. Anyway, the first email comes from James Carpio, who is actually runs the conventions over on Long Island for the Sci-Fi Expo over there. And I believe one in Connecticut. I can't think of the name offhand.
Icon?
Icon,
yeah. And Connecticut, I think it's called.
I was just making that up. There is one called Connecticut.
Yeah.
Okay, then. All
right, his email goes as follows. Based on the thread I started over at RSR Gaming Boards, How much is too much when it comes to alien technology in AD&D? I'm not talking about the ray guns or lightsabers being things such as teleporters, levitation devices, or strange armors I'm talking about. While these things can be explained by magic, the origin and make are definitely not of this world. Perhaps I should refocus the question and ask, what do you think of introducing the idea of an alien race from the stars? And if introduced, how well do you feel that this belongs in fantasy setting? I'm personally using this idea in a project I am writing, but I always trust RFI's opinion, and I think it would be great to get feedback. Thanks, James Carpio, aka Ravens Poe on the boards. Guys?
Well, I think if you can make it work, then do it. I personally have no problems with it. I mean, heck, you can look back at Expedition to Barrier Peaks. Good example of introducing a sci-fi element into AD&D. I mean, and I think that's a good example of like when you introduce those sorts of things, there are limitations. Like if they're trying to figure things out, they might blow up in your face. So,
True.
They all kind of balance out. But introducing an alien race from another world, I don't foresee a problem with that. I think that would be an interesting, cool twist on things. So
yeah,
that's my 2 Electrum pieces on it.
It could just be a new race. I mean, there's always races out there to discover in the fantasy world. Not every little piece of the land is all discovered.
Yeah, I actually had this idea. It's like now all of a sudden, like, what would happen if I like introduced like out of UFO lore the Greys into the whole thing? How interesting would that be?
Wasn't there a Deep Anderson module with Tim the Alien or something back in OD&D days?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know, but I can tell you this though. You already have alien races in first edition D&D, and a lot of people don't know about this, but mind flayers are an alien race.
Yeah, you are absolutely right.
They are.
And so are aboleths. If you're familiar with those from the Monster Manual too, they're alien. And there's a couple other species that are extremely alien. And you already have them, and just like I said, Expedition into the Barrier Peaks. That should be your main goal, is getting that module. Look at the flow charts and how to, if people find armor or find weapons, just like Matt. That was Nick.
Yeah,
that brought that up. Use the flow charts, because you roll on the flow chart, and if the weapon blows up in your face, it blows up your face, it disintegrate your head off, and then roll up a new character, what have you. But no, that's I go for Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. Start with that, and then grow from there.
I think there was another like adventure. Might have been a box one, Night of the Comet. Wasn't there another one for?
That's right. I believe Night of the Comet was. I haven't seen it. It's downstairs. I haven't seen that in a while. I haven't read that in a long time.
But I think that has like some sci-fi elements in it too.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of some other ones that maybe just to give some ideas, some inspiration. Somebody,
Dungeon Magazine had some for sure.
Yeah, someone did like a supplement for original D&D recently. I think the Carcosa supplement.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There might be some stuff in there. It might be a little too much, a little bit on the dark side, but hey, give it a look. You never know. You can, mine all those sorts of things for ideas. But all in all, I think it'd be a pretty cool idea. See how it work in your campaign world.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks. Next email comes from DM Joe, not the DM Joe again. I'll stress.
Okay.
Keep asking every time, is that him? I was just looking through RFI, excuse me. I was just looking through Monster Manual 2, and I noticed the Land Lamprey on page 80 has no listed alignment. I was wondering what you guys think their alignment would be, or if Gary ever said anything about this. Thanks, DM Joe. Usually they're just neutral alignment if there's no alignment listed.
Yeah, if it's an animal, it's neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it has an animal intelligence, I believe it's a 0 to 2, maybe 0 to 1. I believe it has a neutral alignment.
Yeah.
I'm taking a look right now to see what it says about intelligence.
That was probably just a typo within the when it went to print. Somebody missed something.
Basic D&D, like classic, they used to always put nil or nothing.
Right. Here's another classic example of a screw up in the Monster Manual under Demogorgon. His special ability of magic missiles that he can cast, he has a to-hit roll for the magic missile. That goes back to original D&D when you did.
Right.
I think under Holmes Basic.
That's Holmes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Holmes D&D where he had the 2-hit roll for the magic missile. So that kind of got lost in the shuffle there.
Yeah, see. Oh, I'm sorry. No, the Land Lamprey has it's actually very pathetic for an intelligence because it basically doesn't have any. It says, where did it go again? Intelligence, non. It's non-intelligent.
Neutral then.
Its intelligence is not rateable.
Yeah.
It's just neutral. Just treat it as a neutral creature. That's all.
It's basically just a weird form of the lamprey that lives on land.
Yes,
So-
its alignment is hungry. I want to suck your blood. That's all it wants to do.
Alignment hungry.
Yeah.
Good. Alignment apathetic.
There's your answer. Okay, and last email comes from Steve. He says, I was watching the movie Gamers, the second one, and I was wondering about the lightsaber the guy used. How would you incorporate that in your campaign if you would? If you can give me examples how to make that.
I'll pass on that because I wouldn't put it in there.
Well, people might be interested in doing that.
I don't know.
I would think that would be a no.
Actually, hold on a second. The lightsaber is in AD&D.
Yeah, it's in one of the modules.
No, it's in Unearthed Arcana.
Oh.
The Wand of Force.
Oh, jeez.
It is the Wand of Force. Unearthed Arcana. Let's see if I can grab it here. Hold on one momento.
If you want to make it from scratch, I would definitely say it was a Tinker Gnome item if you want to go with the whole backstory. And I would say it was a Tinker Gnome item with a metal pipe, and they figured a way to fashion these crystals, and they use mirrors inside of it to make a psychic energy blade.
Yeah.
But I remember looking this up. I'm like, that's a lightsaber. Here it is, the Wand of Force. First, the wand enables the wielder to cause a shaft of nearly invisible blue-white energy to spring from the tip. This shaft of energy extends 4 feet and equal to a +5 bastard sword. It was with respect to hit probability and damage. It expends 1 charge per turn. And also you can create a wall of force with this thing. It could do other things, but basically the Wand of Force out of Unearthed Arcana is a lightsaber. So there you go.
There we go. Look over there.
Yeah.
Cool. If you want to write in, rfistaff@gmail.com, or you can call us 570-825-4210, the hotline, and we'll head into our first segment.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, a fella knew how to judge a fireball on the fly and how far the cleric could push the undead he turned. I tell ya, with all these min-maxers and munchkins, metagame and power game, there's something missing that I'm here to learn ya. Now sit down and crack your book while I commence to teach you some.
Table manners.
Okay, on today's Table Manners, we are going to cover dwarves, but not the normal dwarves that we know from the first edition Player's Handbook, but we're going to talk about dwarves from the supplement called Dwarves from Rolaids, which was made by Mayfair in 1982. I'm doing that from memory, so correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was 1982 for the Dwarves supplement. And so I was looking at this supplement, and I'm looking at these dwarves, and I'm thinking, like, these are some strange-looking dwarves here. Their history is very weird. And it's not the history that most people will be accustomed when we talk about the regular dwarves from, like, first edition AD&D. So just to get an understanding of the history of these dwarves, it appears to me as I'm reading this supplement, and this is the Roll-Aid supplement, so don't get me wrong on this now. When I was reading this supplement, it seemed like dwarves were just living on regular land. They didn't move into the mountains or didn't live in the mountains from the get-go. Did y'all catch that part on the history?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, sure did.
And it looks like what happened is that they found Mithril, or Mithril, how you want to pronounce it, and they moved to the mountains when they found this Mithril ore or this vein or whatever it was, and that's where they lived at for the time period. And it's kind of funny how they described it, because then they said they have homes. So I'm not accustomed to thinking of dwarves with homes inside a mountain. I don't know if that's what they would call it. I don't know what the appropriate term is. I don't know if they lived in caves or they lived in what do they call warrens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the correct word, but I just can't see them living in houses inside a mountain. It just seemed kind of weird to me. So the history was pretty cool in the Rolaids in the Rolaids supplement. It's a lot different because as I look at D&D, you know, dwarves were created by the gods, the dwarven gods, and they lived underneath the mountains. It's plain and simple. That was what it was.
Right.
So and the dwarves, interesting history, a lot different from the regular dwarves, I think. Let me see what kind of differences there were. Race relations. I found that the race relations of dwarves in the Rolaids supplement is a bit different than the race relations they had with races in first edition. With humans, they had really a good relationship with them. With elves, they were still, you know, they didn't like, I don't think they liked elves that much because elves kept running away from the battles they were involved in. And elves just didn't help dwarves at all, and so it just got from worse to really worse. So I think there's some serious issues. There's almost a hatred for elves, I think, to a certain extent, because the dwarves and the elves aligned for a couple battles in the history that was in the Rolaids supplement, and then in the heat of the battle, the elves took off and left the dwarves alone. So I don't know what the world was going on with those bad boys. Versus gnomes and halflings, they are considered automatic dwarf cousin status.
Yeah.
So they said, you are related to us whether you like it or not, even though you don't look like us and you don't have beards and you're shorter and maybe fatter or something, you are automatic distant cousins, which was pretty good. And, well, we can just go into all the evil humanoids because they didn't like them. Orcs, goblins, all that stuff, they hated them. They destroyed them on sight pretty much. So, again, a very interesting history, a very bloody history with the dwarves. The dwarves went on some campaigns themselves to ensure that the evil humanoids won't live close to the mountains. So what they do, they burnt down all the forest where the elves were living at. So it's just awesome. And it just goes on and on. The history is really great. Now, I saw a portion on it where the dwarves in the Rolaids supplement, they distrust magic. So it was kind of weird how that came along. Now, it says that you normally never found magic user dwarves, and it kind of left that open-ended. So what that means is there is some possibility that there are dwarves that could be magic users, and that's how the Rolaids supplement differs from first edition AD&D. We all know that dwarves can't be magic users,
right.
by the book, of course. Right. But the way they talked about the history of dwarves and you know what they like, they distrust magic. And it seems kind of weird, though, because when they talked about their forges and all that stuff where they make weapons, the magic they needed to make these great weapons and these great suits of armor and all this other artifacts and everything, I don't think it's always clerical magic. I mean, you all tell me if I'm wrong on this. I mean, it seems kind of weird, though. I don't think all of it's clerical magic. You know, to infuse these armors with like +5 or whatever, and you know, whatever else they was doing to these weapons and artifacts. It just seems kind of weird. So I covered that as much as I could on that subject. Now, the supplement covers 3 types of different dwarves. There's actually a 4th set of dwarves, and I'm going to talk about them off in a little later on. But you got your mountain dwarves, hill dwarves, and mine dwarves. And I found that kind of funny because the mountain dwarves, their alignments are usually lawful neutral, lawful good. Your hill dwarves are chaotic good, chaotic neutral. I never did quite understand that. What's the difference between a mountain and a hill, except one is bigger than the other, but their alignments are, you know, are so skewed. You know, I just didn't get that. The mine dwarves, however, are chaotic neutral with evil tendencies. So I don't get it. So if you're born a mind dwarf, you're always chaotic neutral or whatever. So it was kind of weird how they set up these alignments with particular races.
So it's kind of like the drow is to elves in. Yeah. So basically, they're the drow of the dwarves in Rolaids.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how they covered that. It was just very interesting, though. They did cover, this is the 4th group of dwarves that I found that was pretty neat, the Emerald Valley Dwarves. And they had a picture of a female dwarf with no beard. So I can only assume that the dwarves in that that fit in that Emerald Valley, they don't have beards. Whereas all the other dwarves that were depicted in this book from the Mountain Hill of Mine, they all had beards. So I could assume, and then the female dwarves also had beards when they covered the social status of dwarves, marriage, who they get married to, the clans they belong to, and so on and so on. So they had like a little marriage there. And there's a female dwarf there with a short old beard. And I'm thinking like, gross, but whatever, it's just a little mind racking.
Yeah, but to a dwarf, that's probably hubba hubba.
Yeah, it's gotta be something.
Look at the beard on that girl.
Yeah, I'm gonna she had hairy underarms too and all that other mess. I don't know. I don't want to ask that. I should have asked that. But looking at the classes, though, I saw the clerics. I saw where they're great warriors, but I found something really neat about the thieves. They don't like thieves. Isn't there as many thieves in a dwarven community? They're not trusted, and if they're caught stealing, they get punished very quickly. Either they get expelled or whatever. So again, that was pretty neat there. Dwarven traps. They covered a nice little thing there on dwarven traps. They're real good at making traps, but don't be a thief and make a trap because that's bad.
Yeah. I've always kind of thought like when you're talking about dwarven thieves, I've always pictured them as more of like the engineer types, if they have thief abilities, they're like engineers and they tinker around and they make things, but they know how to take them apart too. But yeah, that's kind of cool that maybe if they have thieving abilities, maybe it's more of like they know how to design traps, how to disarm them. They're more on the, I guess, the engineering, the mechanical side of things.
Right. And that's a good thing you brought that up because when you read the supplement, the Roll 8 supplement on dwarves, you get into a lot of that stuff about, who is an engineer, who's a weaponsmith, who is an armorsmith, because that's how these dwarves make their living. Because, they have a social table on there that covers social class, noble rank, birth, birth table, what guild they belong to. So, they cover all the things that go under a dwarven city or a dwarven whatever village, what have you, and where they play. So once you're born, you're going to this guild, you're going to make armor for the rest of your life or what have you.
Right.
The thing on the dwarven thieves, though, is that, like I said, there are dwarven thieves. They're not looked at very kindly. And if you're caught stealing, and like I said, clan mentality, they all live around one another. And that was another neat thing I saw about their social status is that the clans stay among themselves. There is no intermarriage among other clans.
Yeah, it does happen, but I guess, like they said, it's very rare.
Yeah, but that's kind of weird. But I'm thinking, if you're all within the clan, if you're all staying married within a clan, and you're having dwarven children within the clan, eventually it's going to become, like a, I don't know what the proper word is, just interbreeding. See where I'm coming from? Mm-hmm. So it makes me wonder how they figure that all out. If this is enough people within that clan to where that you wouldn't have that option. It's just weird how it comes up. It's just hindsight, I guess. So again, interesting thing on dwarves. It's a lot different than the first edition dwarf.
One of the things I did like, though, when I was reading through this, when they were talking about like the I think this is a great supplement because it talks about things like the courtship and marriage customs of dwarves. If you want that sort of detail in your campaign, it has it. Equality of the sexes. Actually, one of my favorite parts, even though it's rather short, is the stuff about the food.
Yes.
I thought it was very interesting that their main source of nutrition is generally coming from edible fungi. They have these giant mushrooms that they grow, and mushrooms are a staple in the dwarven diet. So I always thought, and they have like a domesticated version of the carrion crawler that they use. Apparently, yeah. And it says the main source of meat is from the cavern crawlers, a domesticated tentacle-less cousin of the carrion crawler, which often reaches a length of 10 to 12 feet. In addition to providing large quantities of tasty meat, they're also used to haul up miners and their finds from many deep shafts. So I guess it's really tasty. So I just thought it was really interesting, all that. Like, they also, they domesticated fish. And they've also done things about rabbits and squirrels and other I thought that was a really interesting take on taking. I don't know, maybe it's me. I always thought an interesting view of any sort of culture is their food. If you look at a culture's food,
Right.
you have a really good insight on the culture itself. And I just thought that was a really cool part. And also the thing about the marriages that you touched on was pretty interesting too.
Yeah, like I said, it opens a whole new door if you really want to get into dwarven culture. And until I actually read this supplement, I can't even recall reading too much detail as much as this Rolade supplement cover. And I think like, wow, I don't recall reading anything as far as going into depth of how, the social life of dwarves are in their city in the mountains. And when they said they build houses, and I think like, I don't think dwarves would live in a house. They just seem kind of weird. But
Right.
yeah, and and I like to think about how the relationship between men and women, that it is the responsibility of both female and male dwarves to rear the children. It's not left just to the mother. And they have equal social status in their clans or whatever. A male is equivalent to the female. It isn't like, okay, dwarf wife, you cook food, you feed children, I go mine. It doesn't work like that.
And you know what? It kind of makes sense that it doesn't work like that because they're in a very, very hostile environment
Yeah.
that they live in. So they need everybody in that dwarven clan to work together and do whatever they need to survive.
Right.
So in that sort of way, it makes a whole lot of sense.
Right. And like I said, interesting supplement. I've read, the whole thing on the history and the gods and everything. All that stuff is covered in there. And I thought this is just another supplement that can be used to make dwarves a much more enriched character if you want to play them. Now, I will do notice when I said, like, what kind of monsters do they fight? And it's real funny, as I was looking back at the monster section, I saw the creature called the Tripus.
Mm-hmm.
When I looked at the picture, I said, that's a Zorn.
Uh-huh.
You all can see that? Yeah, it's called a Tripus, Tripus. So I said, hey, that's the Zorn, because it looks exactly like the Zorn picture in the Monster Manual 1. And then I saw two weird-looking creatures. The one was called a Hobgork and the Trork. The Hobgork, I believe, was a mixture of a hobgoblin and orc. And the Trork was the troll and an orc. And I thought, like, okay, here come the aberrations now. So yeah, overall interesting supplement. The history is pretty good. I like how the elves just ran away when the dwarves needed them the most, and it explains more on why elves and dwarves really don't see eye to eye, and not because of their height.
Right. Very funny.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm always getting stuck with the short races. I might as well make some short jokes.
Whoa, boom, boom.
Oh yeah, I see where you're talking about that Tripus thing. Yeah, it's a Zorn.
That's
they
what I
probably
thought.
just couldn't use Zorn because, well, it was probably licensed by TSR at the time. They couldn't use that name. I don't know.
We'll talk about that in the next segment a little bit more about TSR versus Mayfair. So
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, but that's what I have on these dwarves, and like I said, they're not the typical dwarf that you'll find in AD&D First Edition, as far as I know.
cool.
I really liked the detail that they gave to the whole dwarven society, and for this supplement, yeah, they use their own names for certain things in whatever Rolaids was doing as far as like a campaign world. I guess that maybe this was going to be plunked into.
Yeah.
But who's to say you can't use some of this material for World of Greyhawk or Forgotten Realms or or for anything? I think it's really cool that you could take a lot of the basic ideas and use it into any campaign setting. Just the ideas of dwarven food, race relations, marriages, how the clan structure is. If someone wants to play a dwarf, they really want to get some really good detail into their character. There are some players who really dig that sort of thing. Just have like a whole huge background in it. Or here's another thing: who maybe have like an all dwarf campaign. You might want to do something like that. Maybe you're all playing dwarves. I'd done a stunty campaign once. Everybody played shorties. Everybody played dwarves, gnomes, halflings.
Oh, well, that explains the magic user part. If you play a whole party dwarves, you ain't got no dwarven magic user.
Nope.
Unless...
Nick, were they trying to save Snow White?
No, they weren't. They were trying to get to the Emerald City. No.
All right.
Is that the Lollipop Guild? The Lollipop Guild?
Because it actually expands upon dwarves a lot. It gives a lot of detail and thought.
Yeah, it does.
Especially with those people that love dwarves. This book is perfect. Pick it up. It is compatible. Excuse me, with first edition, no matter what anybody says. It even says it on the cover.
It sure does.
Which
It
and it's
does.
the segment.
Yeah.
All right, so let's head into our next segment so we can get into that.
Oh man, what the heck is that?
Stand aside, you fool! I have a spell that will work here!
What do you mean I can't hit with that? Oh, right, fine. Show it to me in the book.
Welcome to Game Mechanics.
Game mechanics. Basically, we're going to talk a little bit more about roll aids, and we have, in the 2 years we've done this podcast, we really haven't talked about like the third-party supplement like roll aids.
Right.
Jason did mention it a couple times way back in the past, and we were comparing on the show which ones we had, but we never actually spoke about them. Mayfair put out roll aids back in the 80s. I think as far back as 82, you said, Will?
Yeah, 82.
Yeah, well, I was just saying that the Rolex, the supplements for dwarves, I think came out in 82. My son might have came out before then.
Right.
I have no idea.
Mayfair picked up after Judges Guild went belly up called City State of the Invincible Overlord.
Yeah.
Woo!
Remember that one?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes, I have a copy of that box set.
I don't have it yet, but I want to get one.
Mayfair made a deal with TSR to make supplements based on AD&D rules. And all they had to do was put compatible with first edition AD&D on the front cover, because you'll see a lot of them will say, you know, can be used with Advanced Dungeons & Dragons first edition, can be used with TSR's Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. A lot of the boxes said that on the front cover. TSR allowed this graciously with, of course, a cut of the profit. But Mayfair set up themselves so they can get away with it in the future to make their own products without having to give TSR money. So a lot of the books, if you flip through them real quickly, you'll see some weird things in it like HTK, ATT,
Right.
Echo. I don't know what that is, right?
Yeah.
MMR. A lot of them you can just figure out by looking at it real quick. Like HTK would obviously mean hit dice. It's hits to kill.
Right.
That's how they present their hit dice. AC they left alone because I think that's a universal going back from miniature war days, right? Well,
Yeah, I think, yes.
Okay. Damage they listed as DM. They used Thaco, obviously, which came about more so in the end of first edition, more towards second edition. So they actually started using Thaco way before anyone else did. They have attacks as ATT. Magic resistance was just MR. Movement. Now, movement was different. They didn't do it like first edition did. They just put M with a number and a symbol. And
Right.
the numbers at the front of the book, like a slash number, quote marks meant flying speed, double slash number, quote marks meant swimming speed, in parentheses meant burrowing speed, star, pound, or I should say star number, parentheses meant speed in the web. These were something like for alignment, they put a line. Frequency was the same thing. Number was the same thing. Size was a little bit different. How they listed it, they put the number next to it with the parentheses.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that was a little bit different. The special was the same, but Mayfair set this up. And then when Judges Guild went belly up, they bought, or I should say, acquired the rights to City State of the Invincible Overlord and made a 5 box set. Was it 5? 1, 2? Looking at my wall, a 6 box set, I think it is, called the Invincible Overlord, which they released without permission from TSR as their own standalone campaign world. Yeah. Well, TSR didn't think it was too cute, so they decided to sue, which made Mayfair stop and sell whatever they had remaining of anything to do with AD&D to TSR, thus ending the Roll Aids books.
Yep.
Now, did they settle out of court and just say
TSR ended up buying Mayfair, but some of the products, but not all, was considered in violation of their initial agreement, but not enough to invalidate the initial agreement.
Okay.
Right.
So what they basically sell? Say you could sell where you have left, and that's it.
Yeah.
No, let's see, let me
Yeah.
get some exact dates here because they didn't buy Mayfair until like the 90s, and that lawsuit was from like the mid 80s.
Yeah.
It drug out for a while. Let me see.
Wow.
Here. It was like
Well, yeah, it ran,
1993 was when the lawsuit is. They wanted out. Let's see, because the original agreement was struck in 84. Mayfair was sued by TSR in 93.
yeah.
So the City State of the Invincible Overlord box set I have actually has the foreword written by Gary Gygax in 1987.
That was the original one that was adopted for OD&D rules. Yeah. Or classic.
Yes.
This Invincible Overlord box set, which was like 101, 102, 103, 104, those were the ones that they did kind of cutely and on their own.
Right.
Right. And now, and you said, as far as Invincible Overlord, Gygax in '87, he already was gone from TSR by about
This
2
was-
years.
Right.
Lorraine did it. At the same time, was it Games Designer Workshop was working on Gary Gygax's game Dangerous Dimensions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as soon as they saw what happened, they changed the game to Dangerous Journeys.
hmm
So that's why that explains the whole name change suddenly from that game. So that's that with what happened between Mayfair. A lot of people ask what happened between them, but Mayfair, I know in 2004 was selling their back stock of all the Rolly products for like half the price of what it should be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Out their warehouse, and they just got rid of. That's why if you go on Amazon or whatever, you can see almost all the Rolly products for under like $5, brand new
Jeez.
in the wrapper.
And get it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no kidding.
did a few of them because some of them are really good, like the Demons, the Angels,
Yep.
Apocalypse box set, which I found after we did that show, which I needed for that show, and I got the Dwarfs, there's Dragons, there's Elves. They did a lot of really good ones, a lot of good modules. The Keep, for example, was one of them was really good, based off the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, it was
I remember that one.
it was a module, then a movie, and then
It was originally actually a book
that's
by
it.
F. Paul Wilson, and it got adapted to be the movie, which is visually striking, but I guess it really doesn't follow the novel very well, but that's okay.
They normally don't.
I don't think Mayfair still holds the rights to Rolaids anymore. I don't know if Rolaids.
They were bought by TSR. That's why they stopped making RPG products. TSR bought out the rights
Rolaids line.
to the Rolaids line. So so TSR now Wizards of the Coast actually owns the rights to the Rolaids.
Okay.
Yeah, because they couldn't sue them out of existence because you can't actually copyright game mechanics, but you can copyright the flavor around it.
That's how the whole Open Gaming license got around things.
Right. And then that just ends into a whole big muckety muck on what is actual intellectual property, what is just considered generic game mechanics. But I'll throw in some links to the actual court documents from the TSR Mayfair if anyone out there actually wants to read through a bunch of legalese.
Yeah.
And after that, roll a d6 for sanity. That's how much sanity you lost.
Yes.
Not as a good read as reading the Dave Arneson versus Gary Gygax lawsuit papers. You want to shoot those
A
things.
bunch of nerds fighting over games and dice
Yeah, I know.
and a word. I mean, good Lord.
I don't see what the problem is with the company sending out a product that says compatible with.
Yeah, and
That was part of their original agreement, though. They were not supposed to proclaim compatibility with other systems. They could only say compatible with AD&D. They could not say they're compatible with anything else.
And then they put it right on the covers as, presented by the editors of Rolaids for use with the Dance Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game.
Right.
I mean,
There
you go.
That was okay. Saying they were compatible with any other game system that wasn't AD&D wasn't okay.
That was
not
a
cool.
violation, yeah.
So
You figure the only thing it would do was help, bolster sales and make the game more popular. But when they fight and shut doors, it just, you can only buy from us. If you want to play AD&D, you can only buy from us. You can't buy from no one else.
that's what happens when you think your market is a zero-sum gain.
Right.
That's when there's only $1,000 of money out. And if I'm not getting all 1,000 And if I get 800, my competitor's getting 200. That's 200 I could have had, as opposed to thinking by letting them have their 200, maybe we'll both be able to make more.
You listening, Watsy?
This is when, around the same time that this happened with Mayfair, also is when TSR got the nickname of the Evil Empire, because they went on the web when the web was first introduced and started blamming all those groups.
Right.
The Usenet groups and everything that had TSR stuff on it. Not even books. They had like people made up their own stuff. It was like they'd write them and say, please take it down. It's a violation. So that management of TSR really were becoming like, I don't know what to say, evil empire, pretty much. Evil king deciding, any mention of...
Well, it was when Lorraine Williams came into the scene.
Oh, no, this was well after Lorraine. I mean, not really? After her, because the lawsuit was in 93. She took power in like 87? Yeah. 86, 87. So this is
she was trying to push her own agenda with her little
Buck Rogers junk. So this is 7 years past that. This is more after second edition started, and wasn't this around 92, 93 when they just started losing money? Because 4 years after that, 4 to 5 years after that, that's when the talks with WotC and being bought out happened.
Yeah, it was like
they had that
mid-late 90s that happened.
Right, so this was basically the start of the late 90s. They saw it coming and were like, how are we going to make some money? Let's sue out our competitors and hope maybe that revitalizes our failing business.
Sure, yeah, bring out Spellfire. Boy, was that a failure. That card game stunk.
Oh, you mean Misfire?
Yeah, Spellfire, Misfire, Horrible Fire, Burnt Out Fire. It was
that was their attempt to capitalize on Magic the Gathering, which didn't work. So.
Yeah, they failed.
And the ironies that just came later.
I remember
bought out by the company that you just tried to beat.
I remember Magic the Gathering when it first came out. We all called it Geek Poker.
Geek Poker.
Well, considering it actually did originally in the rules have anteing cards and cards that forced your opponent to bet more cards in it.
I was part of that for a while. It just became an arms race, and I just said the heck with it, and I sold all my cards.
Yeah.
You fell for it?
You fell
for a brief
I did too for like the period of like a year.
I never fell for it. I did fall for other games, but just not Magic.
Well, I also dabbled in like the Illuminati, CCG, and I was just trying out all kinds of stuff because I didn't, up until the mid-2000s, I never really had a game store. All I had was a comic shop and the games they ran there. So I never really got to experience the joys of having a game store that sold RPG books. Yes, I know, sad. I was fortunate they did sell some like old Avalon Hill box set bookshelf board games, but I never had the RPG home. I had to go to like Walden Books for all my RPG stuff.
B. Dalton,
yes. The mall bookstores were my friends.
Yeah, I actually was lucky. I had a place called Waterloo, which I said in the past. Will loved that place because there was.
I had a place that I went to as well. It was awesome. Star Realm, great place. Go there almost every weekend through my teen years.
And Waterloo.
You know what?
Sorry, Will, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. No, I was just thinking, when y'all brought up Mayfair Games, I just recalled. Mayfair Games has the rights to print and publish Settlers of Catan.
Yes, which is a great game.
Which is the number one board game right now, I believe, that's being played right now.
Yeah.
So you know what? They're doing great.
Yeah, they don't care.
They don't care. They're doing good. You know what?
They have a huge booth at Origins. They're doing fine.
They decided to go Euro board game. That is their thing. Euro style board games.
At Gen Con, they have like the biggest space I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're not gonna mess with them. They're a powerhouse right now when it comes to Settlers of Catan and all those games. Yeah.
Yeah, big deal. Big deal.
Yeah, so good on Mayfair. Good on Mayfair. I love them. You know what? They had Cosmic Encounters too. I love that board game too. You know what? I like Mayfair.
Oh, I like Mayfair too. Yeah. I wish they would make a 2-player board game for people, just like a mini 2-player game.
It's called chess.
Let's hit it.
I wasn't going to go simpler than that. I would say tic-tac-toe.
Will, you're becoming Will Wheaton to me. Now stop it. Wheaton. Anyway, let's end the creature feature.
Now, before we do that, when you bring up Will Wheaton, I don't have no love for the guy, but I don't have no hate for him. But I just watched that Family Guy episode, and then when they said Will Wheaton, they I don't know, they couldn't pronounce his name right because he has 2 W's in his name.
Oh,
so
Wheaton.
Yeah.
That's a joke between Stewie and Brian when Stewie kept with a cool whip.
Cool whip. Dude, he has some cool whip. Look at some cool whip.
Yeah. All right, enough about Will Wheaton, and let's go on to creature feature.
That is not dead, which can eternal life, and with strange eons, even death may die.
I welcome the unwary to the Creature Feature Theater.
All right, everybody, it's DM Nick here, and kind of going on with our Rolaids line of products that we're featuring in this podcast this time. We're going to take something for the creature feature out of the Rolaids Monsters of Myth and Legend, that book, and we're going to talk about this monster called the Rattlesnake Monster. Now, this one's actually out of, would have been North American myth when you're talking about Native American tribes. And looking through this, when I read this rattlesnake monster, now think of, was it the Midgard serpent? It's kind of basically like the North American Indian take on the Midgard serpent in a way. This thing is ginormous. Yeah, it's huge. And in the text of this, they said the original snake, according to the myth, would have geographically lived in western Montana and eastern South Dakota. That's how long that thing was. So it was like over 800 miles long. And it had a 2-mile wide mouth. So, yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, huge. The ones that in the supplement, they're talking about, it's offspring, something like that. So they're only like, 1.5 miles to 3 miles long. So, a little bit more about the monster itself. It can move at a rate of D20 plus 10 melee rounds, a movement of a rate of 1. So it doesn't move very far. So it's a pretty slow mover. Now, this is interesting about the hit points, though. The hit points are listed as 100, okay?
Yeah.
But there's a unique twist on this. Because the thing is so huge, if the player characters actually reduce its HTK, which they use as hits to kill, which is the analogous to the hit points, if they reduce it to 100, the DM needs to roll a percentile. Now, if he rolls 100%, that means you actually hit a vital spot on the snake and you killed it. But if you didn't, there's no effect. So theoretically, it has unlimited hit points. Yeah.
So it sounds like to me.
Yeah. So you have a 1 in 100 chance to kill this thing if you reduce the zero hit points. If not, there was basically no effect, and you start all over again at 100 hit points. So yeah, it's nasty. The blood is poisonous. If you're splashed with it, you can take 3d8 damage, unless a save versus poison is made. Then you take a d6. It could splash up to 30 yards away or more. It has a crushing attack, which covers all characters within range of the rattlesnake's monster movement. The crushing attack does 8d10 damage, and there's no 2-hit roll. If the characters are within the rattlesnake monster, where the rattlesnake monster slithers over to them, they take damage. That's it. You can have an armor class minus bazillion, you're going to get hit. You could get swallowed by this thing. And beyond that, it's so long that if you can live for a while in it. You can actually have random encounters in this thing. It does say that. The labyrinthine interior of the rattlesnake monster does not necessarily correspond with the size of the exterior. Maybe larger or smaller. And there's a 5% chance per week to find the heart of the monster, so you might be able to kill it there. And then it says, wandering monster rolls should be made once per day while living inside the snake. So, with that being said, this would make a very unique, not only encounter, but it's like encounter and like mini adventure all wrapped into one.
Yeah.
In a way, you could probably have this rattlesnake monster somehow come by, swallow the entire party, and you can have a dungeon inside the snake.
Yeah. It'd be really interesting if you could figure out a way to have them get swallowed into it without knowing. So they just think they're lost.
Yeah, they think they're lost. It's like, why is the ground? Think about Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
You know, when they're inside the space slug. It's
Right.
like,
And then there's that 5% chance when they're wandering around per week of finding its heart. So they're just walking around and they see this giant beating heart.
and you're like, what's that? Poke, kill.
Yeah.
Magic resistance on this thing is 45%. Size immense. Yeah, I kind of figured that.
Yeah.
Oh, and the alignment is neutral, like our land lamprey. So intelligence is low.
Yeah.
Cool. One thing I definitely like about the monsters is the whole legend section on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to mention that. At the end of each section, I'm glad you picked that up. There is a few paragraphs, a snippet of how it fits into that particular culture's legend.
Mm-hmm.
In this way, like for the rattlesnake monster, there's two other mythical creatures, the Meadowlark and not Meadowlark Lemon. And Meadowlark, they're talking to Coyote of trying to find the rattlesnake monster, and it just goes on from there, and how it involves Coyote, and it's really cool how each section has a little bit about the legend of the creature. So,
Yeah, see, I like the monster. I thought it was pretty cool, but I'm surprised being a rattlesnake and you couldn't hear it. I mean, give me a break. The rattle alone must have been huge.
Rattle would cause earthquakes. That's
Yeah,
what
sonic damage or something, you know, rattle, rattle, rattle. I mean, that thing would rattle anybody, you know.
When I was reading this, and my first impression was, this is insane. But then I kind of thought, like, you know what? This is very unique because then you can have a whole adventure inside the monster.
Yeah. I'm seeing
That's
like
actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm seeing like you're in a village and you just hear this noise off in the background that's getting larger and larger.
Yeah,
and then it's like this impending doom, like the horde of locusts coming. No, it's a giant rattlesnake coming.
And it swallows the whole village or something.
Yeah, and it's just destroying town after town in its path. It's like some cheesy 50s horror movie.
Attack the Gila monster.
Yes!
Giant Gila monster. There you go. La Gila Hava. Oh.
Stop quoting MST3K, Nick.
I'm sorry. Hey, favorite shows ever.
I know.
So,
I'm the lizard. Blah, 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 blah.
I guess the only way you really could have any issues with it if you get a Tarrasque involved.
Oh, that would be fun.
Let them fight it out. Hey, just swallow the Tarrasque. Let the Tarrasque deal with it.
You know, I think this thing could take a Tarrasque.
What if it just swallowed the Tarrasque and the Tarrasque is a wandering monster inside it?
Oh, now that's just wrong. But you know what, though? If being a mythical creature and kind of going on with this whole thing, you could have like an adventure inside this rattlesnake monster. There's the possibility, because it says random encounters inside the creature, there's the possibility that there could be a whole society living inside the rattlesnake monster.
Right. What if you started your adventure inside it?
There's like a whole culture inside the rattlesnake monster that has built itself up.
Yeah, you have a whole little world in there that's lived there for who knows how long, and that's what you start your adventure in, and you just think they're all this primitive little culture, and your party, they're adventuring, they're killing monsters, because there'll be like loot and all that in there. New loot will come in, so it seems like there's a whole big world, then eventually they find their way out.
Right.
And imagine that shock when they see the outside world in the sun for the first time.
Yeah, there's a science fiction novel like that. They didn't know they were on a world ship, and they find out that they are, or something like that. Similar kind of idea. So I don't know. What do you guys think, Vince, about this creature?
I like this creature. It's definitely interesting. I could see it fitting in anywhere, and definitely watching that Attack the Giant Gila Monster movie would give you a lot of ideas. Having a giant lizard-like creature, especially if you watch the MST3K version,
which is the best version.
Yes.
So there you are, the rattlesnake monster. Experience points, it says 22,000, but I think that's a little low. I think if you kill this thing, I think just, the campaign kind of ends. What else can you do after that? You just killed a 3-mile long rattlesnake.
Well, just imagine to the societies living inside it if you killed it. What happens to them?
True.
All of a sudden, their
get
world.
22 million experience points for killing everything inside it when you kill it.
You just killed a pocket universe.
Pretty much. Now you got to live with that guilt. But now I could think of like different ways you could use some of the really weird, slimy, creepy monsters. You could put them inside there because you could inside the giant rattlesnake. It'd be kind of a thing that would probably live in there. So that's just weird.
And the great thing about this is this book, Monsters of Myth and Legend. There was a second one made also.
Yeah,
this is perfect if you can pick this up on Amazon or eBay for a couple bucks. Your players are so used to playing the game probably will not know any of these monsters in here because, frankly, no one paid much attention to roll aids back then.
Right. Yeah, you could really spring some pretty cool nasties upon your players here. Like, what's one that was pretty cool? Oh, they actually picked up on some from Australia. One called the Malinge. It's like a night spirit. Looks pretty nasty.
Yeah. A lot of good creatures in here. A lot of really deadly creatures, like this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely flip through it. You could probably get a lot of good ideas and make your own creature. I highly recommend this book, and I highly recommend making your own creature, as in taking a creature you already know and molding it into a different creature, so your players don't know.
Absolutely.
Like there's one creature in here, the jackrabbit. Do you see that one?
Yeah,
the giant jackrabbit.
Put it in a cave surrounded by a bunch of corpses.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
Is it behind the rabbit? No, it is the rabbit.
It's the rabbit! Run away!
You stupid sod!
Hey.
Don't call that bad boy Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
What do you think about Sod Podcast? No, I'm kidding. Anyway, let's head to our last segment.
As the secret portal yields to your efforts, you stand amazed at a vision from the most fevered dreams of avarice. Before you lies the Dragon's Hoard.
And now, to continue our Roll Aids theme, we're going to another Roll Aids book, Fantastic Treasures.
This is the first one, I think, the first book they did.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually have this one of the Roll Aids line.
Woohoo!
I think I got it because of the cover.
There's some really cool magic items in this book.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and the one we're going to talk... The two we're going to talk about actually will tie into last week's podcast. These are Gabriel's items. Gabriel, the Archangel of Mercy, Judgment, and Revelation. We're going to discuss his flaming sword and his trumpet. Yes, his flaming sword's a +5 sword, only used by lawful good characters. Other characters get to take 1d10 damage every round they hold it. And when it's removed from the scabbard, the blade becomes a flame. So that's kind of like a lightsaber-ish if you wanted it to flame. So, but this can only be used by those of the lawful good. Otherwise, they'll be taking all that damage. And yeah, its blade becomes a flame. My first thought was, okay, so this is just another variant of the Holy Avenger because they're both +5 swords, lawful good. Except the Holy Avenger is actually kind of forgiving to other alignments where it's actually, you still get a +2.
Unless you're evil.
Yeah, unless you're evil. But what's
different because it's a sword of justice, okay, pal?
Yes, you can go around and just start killing things, lots of things. Or just say, here, could you just hold this for a second while I go to the bathroom? Whatever you do, don't let it drop. Sure, it'll burn a little bit, but it's okay. Just hold on.
Probably could have used this sword in Dogma, but
Yeah, actually. And then, but the one that I really found interesting was his trumpet. Because when this trumpet, when sounded, resurrects all dead within earshot. I mean, there is a % chance based on the level of the character. It's the level of the character blowing it times 5%. Then you subtract 1% per day of the character was dead or the creature. So, and it can only be used once per dead character. But if you're on like a massive battlefield where both sides had tons of corpses and you blow the trumpet, you could have a lot of people coming back to start killing each other again. And then the trumpet's useless on them.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because you would think it only would do like the angelic side or the good side. It just does everyone.
Yeah, this is like everything. And then it's also interesting because when it says on Judgment Day, Gabriel will be raised to a level approaching infinity to ensure all the dead will be raised.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like the ultimate resurrection. But I could see giving this to a party and like, okay, we can bring back our dead companion, and they do it after they just had like a battle with like a dragon. They blow it. Their character fails the % roll, but the dragon succeeds.
Oh, great.
The other interesting thing about the trumpet that it its appearance will coincide with the society.
Yes, it morphs into whatever is culturally appropriate too.
Okay.
Yeah, and both the trumpet, the sword when removed will have the unpronounceable most holy name of God appear on it.
Right.
And then when you just look at the value of it, the sword, 30,000 gold. The trumpet, 200,000. So,
well, yeah, it could raise the dead.
Not just a dead, lots and lots of dead.
The question I have about the flaming sword of Gabriel, now, it's a long sword, so it just flames. It turns into the blade turns into a flame when you pull it from its sheath. Correct? When you grasp it.
Yeah.
Now, what damage does it do? Just longsword damage? Or does it do like longsword damage plus some sort of flame damage?
I would give it the bonus for some sort of any sort of flaming sword. So I would just pull out what's a flaming sword do out of the DMG and add +5.
Okay.
Yeah, because it is Gabriel's sword, so it has to be a little better than just your standard, hey, I got a +5 sword.
Right.
I would hope so. If he's out there slaying devils and all that crap, he better be doing more than 6 points of damage or whatever it is.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking like it because it says, 1 to 10 points of damage when a non-lawful good touches it. I would think that would be like the flame damage.
Right.
Yeah. Along with standard longsword damage, another D10 of fire damage, maybe something like that.
Well, it's a longsword with a gleaming steel blade and a golden hilt. And I never pronounce it. Tetragrammaton, whatever.
Tetragrammaton.
Yeah, the unpronounceable and most holy name of God.
Yes, strictly forbidden to be spoken.
Yes.
Yeah, which no one can pronounce pretty much or said, and is on the side of the blade. This might actually be a forgotten. That could have been an errata later on, telling what the damage of the flame was.
Yeah.
I'd
use the D10. Yeah, there you go.
But I would think that you would put the damage in, saying the flaming. Maybe there was no damage for it. It was just,
Yeah, the flaming for flavor.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. So, just rule that as you like. I mean, I like adding flaming damage because, really, it should be doing more than just +5, being Gabriel's sword.
Yeah, that's how I kind of figured, too. Yeah.
I can see that as a quest item.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Like this evil bad necromancer guy is trying to take over the world with undead, and he decided that he's going to go find Gabriel's trumpet so he can blow the horn on the highest mountain to, bring back all the undead to fight for him or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm just having flashbacks to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, but instead of seeking the Holy Grail, you're seeking Gabriel's trumpet.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's what it would be. It's an artifact, and you're trying to protect it so it doesn't fall in the hands of evil people. They will either want to use it for their own diabolical purposes or just to maybe to keep them from destroying it.
Yeah.
But I seriously doubt they're going to destroy that sword if they have the true name of God on the blade itself. Right. So I can imagine what those devil lords or the archdevils are thinking about something like that.
Yeah.
Or actually, flip to page 56 is the Holy Grail itself.
Oh.
It's just called the Grail, but it's just referred to as the Holy Grail. So if you want to get stats for the Holy Grail, you can do that in your campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Grail is in the Fiend Folio too.
Yeah. Yeah. I could even see like the players being tricked into by some evil person trying to retrieve Gabriel's trumpet, and they come across Gabriel defending it.
Listen to this, the Grail. It disappears in the presence of characters other than good. Okay, so anybody but good can see it. Characters other than good have a chance to be stunned or killed.
So not only do you not see it, you're going to get killed by not seeing it.
It does say see below, and I'm looking below. The chance to be killed can be avoided if the character changes his alignment instantly. Okay.
And then it says if he betrays the new good alignment in the future, he dies.
Yeah.
Wow.
How does anybody that's not good see it to be killed?
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
What did it say again?
Pretty much anyone other than good have a chance to be stunned or killed, but anybody but good can't see it. It disappears in the presence of people other than good.
And will reappear elsewhere in some random or GM location. Basically, if evil's trying to grab it, it teleports itself.
Yeah, anybody other than good alignment that even sees the Grail has a chance to be stunned or killed. Okay, that's how it is. No saving throw.
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of, yeah.
Ouch.
Let's see. It restores and enhances fertility and productivity in a 50-mile radius. So if you're seeking it, that could actually be a nice little tip on how to find it. Be like, hey, there's this village that's been seeing a lot of births recently out of normal. And they have plenty of food and drink.
Well, you don't need the Grail for that. You just get those chakra stones like from Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when they remove those stones, the village died, but when they bring the stones back, the village is full of life again. Oh, just a thought. All you have to do is kill a crocodile or two because they swallowed 3 of them when that guy fell off the cliff.
Yeah.
They would have that really bad, yeah. Look like Ed Wood footage, pretty much. Okay, cool. Tell us what you think. Write us in and let us know. And I think that'll put a wrap on the show.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll be doing a few more revisits to Roll Aids in the future, and I'll sure be finding Will a short class to review again.
You know what's funny is, we've done a couple of these Roll Aid stuff, and it's funny. At first, I could recall I didn't think much of them when they were first out, but now that I've got to look at the material, there's some really cool stuff in there. You know, I really missed out the first time around.
A lot of them are really powerful.
Yeah.
A lot of
I mean, the stuff on the dwarves is really phenomenal. It's really good material there.
Well, if you want to do anything on short people, we can do it on pecs. No, there's actually pecs. They're in the monster manual too.
Yeah.
Oh, those pecs.
No, not from Willow.
You know what though? I do remember somebody somebody made a supplement for D&D for when Willow came out. There was a Willow supplement.
There was. I remember that too.
Yeah.
Peck.
Jeez. Is the Ark of the Covenant in this thing too, or no?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'd like to see a write-up of the Ark of the Covenant just to see how that looked.
You know, it's funny how you bring that up because I was looking at that Green Ronins.
It is.
Testament. I mean, they did that Testament on the role-playing in the Old Testament era.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't mess around with those artifacts. Those things, humans just left them alone.
Yeah.
Cool.
I would like to have seen Moses' staff or maybe Noah's Ark somewhere in there.
Well, they have Ark of the Covenant here, which I'm just looking for. I can't seem to find the page offhand, but...
Oh. Yeah, you definitely don't want to touch that bad boy.
Yeah,
And
just a Nazi.
don't open it. What if you blew the horn, Gabriel's trumpet, by the Ark of the Covenant? What happens?
Oh, I have no idea, but I believe it's supposed to blow the shofar.
Here we go. Ark of the Covenant destroys any snake or scorpion within 100 yards. Destroys anyone attempting to use it for evil.
So that's how you get rid of that rattlesnake monster, the Ark of the Covenant.
Oh,
He
there you
swapped
go.
the Ark of the Covenant. That's what you got to do. You got to find it inside the snake and open it, and I'll kill the snake.
Yeah. Misfortune comes to enemies who steal it until they return it. Yeah.
Wow.
Ark of the Covenant is a large chest in which the stone tablets contain the 10 Commandments were placed. Interesting. Good. Another good thing to do. Put in there.
Well, they also have the axe of Paul Bunyan in here too.
Yeah, they have all different things in here.
So-
Anyway, some great products some people might have missed out on. You should definitely pick them up.
I don't think they were born when they came out.
Yeah. I know I passed on a lot of them, and I did pick up later on in the later 80s when I remember when they had the whole lawsuit going. Well, that was the 90s. The 90s, I picked up a lot of them when they were like half price at bookstores and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up the show. So I'm going to say keep it original, keep it old school, and keep it blunt weapons.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Take care.
Roll for initiative.